Hi everyone, and welcome back to Big City B. I'm B for those of you who are just joining for the first time. Let's get into today's book review. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Getting started on some of the basics for this book. This genre is going to be historical fiction, and there are a few trigger warnings in this book, so make sure you check out the description below to see what those triggers are. And here is your summary. Everyone knows Daisy Jones and the Six. The band's album Aurora came to define the era of rock and roll in the late 70s. An entire generation of girls wanted to grow up to be Daisy. But no one knows the reason behind the band's split the night of their final concert at Chicago Stadium on July 12th, 1979. Until now. Okay, in this book we have a lot of characters, so buckle up. We have Daisy Jones, who is a singer. We have Billy Doon, who is also a singer slash guitarist, and he's the lead of the Six. Then we have Camilla, who is Billy's girlfriend, Graham Doon, who is Billy's brother and guitarist. Then we have Karen, who is the keyboardist, Eddie Loving, the other guitarist, Pete Loving, the bassist, Warren Rhodes, the drummer, Teddy, who is the Six's talent agent, Simone Jackson, who is a rising disco star, and the interviewer who leads this book. Alrighty, on to things that I liked about this book. The first thing that I liked was the interview format. I thought it was really interesting. I haven't read any other books who have done this, but the whole book is set up as if it's an interview between the interviewer and each of the band members or people who had an influence on the band's life, the band's career. So I really liked that. I found it really intriguing, and it made it super quick to read, which I really liked as well. The second thing that I liked was how real the band felt. I kept on wanting to put on their music while I was reading the book, and I could hear the music in my head. It was great, and I really liked it. I actually had to go Google a couple of times Daisy Jones and the Six to make sure that they weren't a real band. That's when you know it's good writing, if I actually believe that they were real. Also, side note, I didn't know this was a historical fiction when I started reading the book, so I thought it was based on a real band. The third thing that I liked about this book was the depiction of damaged artists. Unfortunately, some of the best artists always have a darker side to them. They either have drug addiction or they have mental instabilities, but it makes them fantastic artists. And this just really encapsulated all of that. We have Billy, who has his own demons, as well as Daisy, and even some of the other band members. I thought that was all really, really great, and I loved seeing that. The fourth thing that I liked about this book was the depiction of Billy and Camilla's relationship. I thought it was very real. In relationships, you have people who are gonna fall and falter, and then you have the other person who needs to make the decision if they want to stay around and help that person become better or if they're going to leave. And I thought that the tug of war between the two was very realistic and made me feel for both of them. The fifth and final thing that I liked about this book was all of the women in this book are so strong and their own person and aren't afraid to stand up to misogynist guys or to go against the grain of what they think a woman should be doing during that time, whether that's in performance or relationship or songwriting and performing. I just really loved it a lot. Moving on to things that I didn't like about the book. The thing that I didn't like about the book was that the band wasn't real. I know I said this before, but I didn't know that this was a historical fiction when I started reading, and I thought it was based on a real band. So I kept every couple pages going onto Google and trying to find different, typing in different searches to try and find the band and their music, and I was just getting so frustrated. And then I finally looked up the book and realized it was a historical fiction. It just kind of broke my heart that it wasn't real. So that's the only thing I didn't like. So let's go on to Goodreads and see what they didn't like about this book. The first thing that they didn't like was the interview format and the documentary feel to it. Okay, obviously I disagree because this was the first thing that I liked about the book, but I understand how it wouldn't be to everyone's liking. A lot of people complained that it does everything that a book is not supposed to do, which is it tells everything instead of shows, which I disagree with, because if we're going to the documentary feel of it, there are flashback scenes where we are living in the band's life during segments. While it is told in an interview style still, it is going back and showing that imagery. So I feel like that was a little contradictory, but I understand if that format doesn't work for everyone. I do think it lends itself really well into becoming a series or movie, which I believe it is. I think Amazon is creating a 13-episode miniseries of Daisy Jones and the Six, which will also be led by Reese Witherspoon, who chose this book as one of her book club reads. And it seems like she's taking a lot of the books from her book club read and turning them into miniseries right now, i.e. Little Fires Everywhere, which I already talked about. The release date for Daisy Jones and the Six on Amazon is still unknown at this point. Okay, back to what Goodreads didn't like. The second thing that Goodreads didn't like was that the characters were unlikable. They were jerks or brats. Okay. Not every character is going to be lovable and perfect and an angel or a saint. Let's just put that out there right now. And when you're talking about musicians or artists or actors, usually those people aren't angels. So some people are going to think of them as jerks. I don't think this book portrayed any one of the characters as a jerk or a brat. I think that we saw the good and bad of each character. We saw that Daisy and Billy were gifted writers and musicians and artists, but then they also had their demons. Daisy was brought up in an entitled household and then has an issue of not ever feeling truly loved in her relationships, versus Billy has his drug addictions and steering away from his relationship with Camilla. While sometimes the bad definitely outweighs what the character is doing right, that's human nature. No one is perfect 100% of the time. There are gonna be hills over the course of your life where at one point you're at the highest, you're the best you're ever being, and then you're gonna dip down and you may do some really cruddy stuff, but then you come back up, and that's life. You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving. The third thing that Goodreads didn't like is that they didn't know what the point of this book was. There was no story to the book. Okay, the story of the book was the band's story. Anytime that someone leaves this comment on Goodreads is they didn't know what the book was about. Did you read the book, or did you just read a couple pages? The whole summary of the book is obviously about the band. Pay attention, people. I'm just asking for you to just have some common sense before you're leaving 2-star reviews that say that there's no point to this book. If the book says one thing and diverges on another, then yes, maybe your criticism of no point to the book would be accurate and valid, but in this case, no, you're wrong. All right, time for some quotes. I do have a lot of quotes, so please bear with me. They were just all too good. Quote number 1. I had absolutely no interest in being somebody else's muse. I'm not a muse. I'm the somebody. End of fucking story. So many strong women quotes. I love it. I love it. I love it. There's gonna be a lot of strong women quotes that I do, so if it's a strong women quote, I'm just gonna not delve into it because I would go into it a bunch of times. So strong woman quotes, I'm just gonna go right into the next quote. Quote number 2. I'm not gonna sit around sweating my ass off so men can feel more comfortable. It's not my job to not turn them on. It's their job to not be an asshole. Quote number 3. I used to care when men called me difficult. I really did. Then I stopped. This way's better. So good. The fourth and final quote. Music can dig, you know? It can take a shovel to your chest and just start digging until it hits something. Oh, I love this quote because music can do that, and for me often does. Whenever I'm feeling sad, I have a playlist of songs that help me feel sad or make me feel sad. Then I have an angry playlist and a happy playlist and a whimsical playlist. I just have playlists for all of these songs that make me feel something. And that's what I want out of my music, my books, and my life. To feel something, okay? Finally, what you've all been waiting for, would I recommend this book? Yes! Yes, I would recommend this book. I thought it was lovely. I found it captivating. I loved all the strong women. Just women being strong in any book, I'm gonna be like, yes, unless the rest of the book sucked, and then I'm gonna be like, no. But this book is a yes. The whole frustrating and scary situation of putting yourself out on the line and feeling rejected, and the wanting one person, but knowing that this other person is better for you, because this person is just gonna, it's just so good. I just loved it. And it's very relatable. I've been in situations where I've had a great steady partner and then I meet someone else who's fantastic, but I just don't know if I should stick with the partner who's really reliable and steady, or this new person who is full of passion. So I know what they're going through. There was grit to this story. It wasn't squeaky clean. The heartache I felt for some of the characters was just so strong and visceral. And I loved at the end of the book, you have the song lyrics from all of the songs, because sometimes the snippets are not enough and you just want to know what the whole song is like. So yes, yes, yes. Go read this book. I really liked it a lot, and I'm really hoping that the Amazon series, when it comes out, is going to be really good, because if it isn't, it's just gonna let this book down and I'm gonna be really upset. And they're doing all original music for this book, and that better be good too, because music is such a big part of this book. Alrighty guys, that's all I have for you today. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you like this video and you want to follow along for the next time I do a book review. Leave a comment down below. What is your favorite song? What's your favorite band? I want to know. I'm always looking to add more music to my life. All the best always. Bye.